Hey, what's going on, guys? This is AndrewChicken, and welcome back to another video. It has been a very long time since I've done a tier list, and if you've been watching any other Paladins content creators similar to myself, you've probably stumbled across FrostFangs videos where he basically makes a tier list, but instead of making it a tier list based off of like how good a champion is, he simply made a tier list based off of how fun he thinks each of the champions are. And I honestly enjoyed the videos. I did not agree with a lot of his opinions, and so I kind of got inspired to make my own tier list. So yeah, the idea of making a tier list like this is not very original, I do admit. 100% go watch FrostFangs videos if you haven't already. But my opinions certainly are unique to myself and myself alone. So I'll be making 4 different videos going over each of the classes to keep things, kind of brief. And I'll be starting off with the flank class because, of course, Androxus is first. He's in the flank class, so it just kind of makes sense. And so I guess, yeah, without further ado, let's just go ahead and start ranking some of these guys. Alright, so of course, Androxus, he is going to be the benchmark character. He's kind of just who I think of when I think of a flank champion. He's fun, got a very good, well-rounded kit, good burst, good damage, good mobility, and I do enjoy him. I still sometimes don't feel like I'm the best at Androxus, even though he's one of my highest level flanks, but I think he is, at the very least, in B tier, and I could make a case for putting him in A tier. A for Androxus, Very standard, not S tier for sure, but definitely a good, fun flank who I enjoy from time to time. I think for now, as a benchmark, let's just kind of put him here as like an example of what a fun flank would be. B tier is just kind of average, by the way. C tier, someone who I don't really enjoy. D tier, who I don't enjoy at all. And S tier, if you know me and you know my channel, you probably know who's going there. Anyways, let's talk about Buck. Buck, I would say, is more fun to me than Androxus. I'm going to put him in A tier. Buck has 3 very good builds. He has his bulk up build, which I honestly enjoy the least, but it's a viable build. He has his ensnare build, which is honestly, if it's not my most favorite way to play Buck, it's at least tied with Bounce House. I really like it. It's just, you kind of sit back, you can engage from a little bit farther away, you get that lifesteal, it's awesome. And then, obviously, Bounce House is just, like, nuts into a comp where you're basically free. Like, you don't have, cripples or anything that can stop your momentum. No Atlas, certainly no Azan. But, yeah, because, Bounce House is a little bit harder to use, that's why I end up going in Snare more often, just because it's a bit more, flexible, I guess. But still, very fun flank, goes in A tier for me, absolutely, and I'm going to put him above Androxus. Moving right along, we have Evie! Now, I'm not going to do what FrostFangs did and put, builds from other classes in a tier list like this. I mean, I get the Corpse's damage playstyle is more of a flanky thing, but he's not a flank, he's a support. I'm putting him on the support list. Evie, do I need to go on? Do I need to explain do I need to elaborate? Of course I need to elaborate. I mean, obviously, if you've just seen the sheer volume of Evie videos I've made, like this past year, these past 2 years, you'll know she's my favorite. I love her high mobility playstyle, her ability to snowball kills. I love her weapon. I love that she has nice blocks so she can, sort of block damage. I just love everything about her. I think she is like one of the most well-designed champions or well-designed characters I've ever seen, and I really, 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 really love playing her. In fact, just talking about her makes me want to go play her right now. That's how much I enjoy this character. Easily one of my top characters of all time, and honestly, I'm kind of ashamed and sad that I didn't find her sooner. Like, I didn't really try to get into her sooner, because for the longest time I avoided her because she was so hard. But once you learn how to play the champion, my goodness, she is some of the most fun you'll ever have. So, easy S tier for me. Probably the only one who's going in S tier. You know what? Let's just rename the tier. There we go. That's accurate. Next up, all the way down here, is Koga. Alright, well, time to populate the lower tiers of the tier list. Now the question is he a B, C, or a D? Certainly not an A, certainly not an Evie tier. So, Koga, he's one of the last flanks I got to level 50, and I honestly don't enjoy him as much as the other flanks. But, compared to the flanks I got after him to level 50, I would definitely say he's more fun than them. So he's not going into D tier for me. So he's either between B or C. And honestly, I mean, he does have, his claw build, which is very, very fun to use with the Corvus Pocket. But without a Corvus Pocket, it kind of sucks. And he does have his Adrenaline Junkie hybrid build, which I actually grew to enjoy. So I think for now, we're going to put him in B tier, with the possibility of moving him down to C tier depending on further placements. Again, at the end of the video, I'm going to basically, shuffle things around if I need to, so this might not be his final placement. Next up is Lex. Now, Lex, he has one playstyle I enjoy, and that is Death Hastens. I don't like his base pistols because they have so much inaccuracy once you shoot them for a while, and even still, only for the first few shots, it still feels a little bit clunky to me. And he has no vertical mobility, and he has no way to protect himself either, like in terms of, you know, like an ice block or a magic barrier or something like that. Although he does have his heroism build, which I guess is a solution to that. But still, like, he's okay from time to time with Death Hastens. Other than that, I just don't see myself playing this guy. I'm either putting him in C or D tier, and I'll leave him in C. I don't think I can justify putting him in D, honestly. Like, I do find him somewhat fun, at least. Just not, you know, he's not Evie. I think that's a good theme here. Let's put him in C. Maeve. Now, Maeve is basically a worse Vatu, and Vatu is basically a worse Evie. In terms of fun factor, not in terms of, like, how effective they are. That's kind of how I see things. Maeve, obviously, really good fun, right? She's fun. She's very solid. But, I mean, her pounce can get caught on enemies, and it has a very, very massive hitbox to do so, which kind of makes things annoying. And also, her primary fire, I gotta say, I've never been the biggest fan of it. I've always found it, you know, sort of hard to hit. I've gotten more used to it, certainly, and I think I'm pretty good at hitting her shots now. But it was not the most fun for me to learn. It's still not the most fun for me to use. Love her mobility, though. I like some of her skins. I think she's overall good fun to play. And so I'm going to put her in high B tier. I'm going to put her above Koga, 100%. Because I'm anticipating putting Vatu in A. Let's just, you know what? Let's just put Vatu in A right now. We're gonna skip around on the tier list a little bit. We're going to put Vatu in A. And we're probably going to put him above Buck. Because even with all the nerfs that he's gotten, he still has some of the most fluid, fantastic mobility I've experienced on a flank. I love his dashes, and he's just super fun to play. The one big gripe I have with him is his range, but obviously he's meant to get in close, and he has the mobility to get in close, which is a huge thing. And so, yeah, he's just really, really nice. And if Evie didn't exist, he would probably go up here. But Evie exists, so down you go, Vatu. Get in front of Buck. There we go. Alright, next up is Moji. Moji is a piece of garbage. But she's not the worst piece of garbage, alright? And the one thing that saves this champion from putting her in D is the fact that she does have tech. She has, you know, ways for her to feel skillful. She has skillful things you can do that can elevate your gameplay, and I think they're really unique. Like, you know, ult tech, for example, pressing your ult and then using another ability to kind of either block damage or get in faster and chase down the target and confirm it quicker. I think that's cool. I think her magic barrier tech, where you shoot, cast magic barrier, and then the enemy shoots you, and if you time it properly, you get 1,000 damage on them. I think that's awesome. I think bunny hopping is cool, and all that's great. Problem is, Moji is just not very fun to play if you're going into any sort of high-level gameplay, you know, against people who are actually good. Because she just has a tank-sized hitbox with a flank-sized health pool, limited to no mobility. So, yeah, that keeps her back. And also the fact that her damage is inconsistent. Like, and some people it's just, like, bugged. Like, I think on an Ultimate Koa, for example, you can't reliably get your magic marks building up. And some people, like a Zhin or Koga, can just cleanse your marks. And so you can't really do damage to them. And also you have to maintain line of sight, and you have to be in close range. So someone like Cassie, who can jiggle peek, can use cover a lot more effectively than Moji can, and beat you pretty easily. So because of those limitations, I just don't find this character to be that fun. Goes in C tier, definitely below Lex. Next up is Ruckus. No, sticking to what I said earlier, I'm not going to put Ruckus on this list. If he was a flank, like if we could classify him, I'd put him in A tier, but like... No, let's not be silly here. Next up is Skye. You know, she's pretty, and that's cool, and I like that, but everything else about her is not good. She has pitiful range. I hate her fall off so much. She has legitimately worse fall off than Buck when it comes to her actual damage and, you know, doing damage at range. Like, you know, your bullets are doing full damage, and then you get to a certain point not too far away from her, and then it just falls off so hard. And then, like, you know, a meter or two away, you know, those same shots that would have done 100 damage are now doing like 50. And it feels horrible. On top of that, she has a terrible way of engaging with enemies. She has to go invis to sneak up on a target. And while that is good against inexperienced players, English, It's not very good against experienced players. It's certainly not good against champions that have reveals or free illuminate, such as Ray. It's certainly not good against people who just buy illuminate. Like, come on, just buy illuminate, boom, easy counter to Skye, and then at that point, you have 0 mobility options. She is the only flank with 0 mobility. No mobility. Can't, like, have a horizontal dash or even a vertical dash. You know, she has nothing except movement speed on her invisibility, which I guess is cool, but it's not enough. It's not enough to make her viable. So she basically has Vatu's range, right? Except I think Vatu might actually outrange her, to be perfectly honest, but without Vatu's mobility. So she has to be super close range, unlike someone like Androxus or Evie or Maeve or whatever. But then she can't get into close range effectively, and even if she gets 1 kill, you're most likely going to trade, again, unless the enemies are just bad. So, D tier, easy, not fun at all. Talus, he's basically an upgrade of Skye, honestly. Like, you know, he has, I guess, a similar primary fire, like they both are just hit scan weapons, fast rate of fire, good if you hit headshots, but Talus has had a bit more range, which is nice. He has his overcharge, which helps him get kills, sort of, I guess, similar to poison bolts, but not really. But the one thing he does have going for him is mobility. Unfortunately, no vertical mobility, but he does at least have his punch, which has the opposite problem of Maeve's. It's too hard to hit on some enemies. They need to take some of the hitbox out of Maeve's pounce and give it to Talus's punch, and then it'd be, you know, kind of good as a finisher move to do some more damage. And he does have his ult, which is pretty fun to get kills with, so overall, I rate him, you know, let's put him higher. Let's put him higher than Moji, if he'll even, come on, tier maker, there we go. Let's put him a little bit higher than Moji, but still, like, not my favorite flank. You can tell a trend with the flanks I enjoy. High mobility, you know, decent damage, decent burst, or, you know, crazy burst in the case of Buck. And low mobility flanks, not as enjoyable. Also, I like flanks that do their burst kind of like in one shot, you know, one big burst, as opposed to, you know, having to have a fast rate of fire. Like, with the exception of Lex, who has Death Hastens playstyle, like, every person like B tier or below has a fast rate of fire. Koga's kind of a hybrid, and then Maeve is the first one who doesn't have a fast rate of fire. And then everyone in A tier or above got some nice bursts, you know? And then we get to Vora, who's kind of like, she does have the burst, but then she has the damage over time, and she is really fun. She is really, really fun. I like her tendrils. I like, you know, going double tendril talents and just vining around, feeling like a Spider-Man. Like, that's really cool. And her damage is very solid. Her obliterate is a nice, you know, sort of similar to Ice Block, but also not, in a way. And yeah, she's just a very versatile, very independent flank who's very fun to play. I think I'll put her above Androxus as well. I don't think I can justify putting her above Buck and above Vatu, but definitely above Androxus. I think she's good fun. And yeah, that's basically it, honestly. She's nice. Last champion on this list is Zhin. Now, Zhin is a flank champion who is basically a cockroach. He does not die. It's very, very hard to kill a good Zhin player. And, I mean, he's alright to play too. I don't think I would consider putting him in A tier, not just because, like, A tier is getting bloated now, but also because, like, he's got some fun to him. It's nice to kind of combo with his whirl and, you know, just spin around feeling like you're, you know, just this unkillable dominant flank. But he's just kind of easy and kind of boring after a while. Like, I can't play too many matches of Zhin in a row without just getting tired, you know? Like, I could play Evie all day long and I would love it. And, like, if you guys would let me do that on stream, just like 3 hours of Evie straight, I would just be thrilled. I would be the happiest man in the world. But not Zhin. And so Zhin is fun every now and then. And he's got a very good kit. He's very strong. So, like, if I need to pick him in a situation where I need to do good, he's there for that too. And that's why he kind of goes to B tier instead of, like, C tier or D tier. So, that is pretty much everyone on this tier list. Do we need to move anybody? That's the question. If this were a balanced tier list, I would probably take Vatu and put him up here just to make it look a bit prettier. But no. Evie is the only one who goes into S tier because I have leaps and bounds more fun on her than any other champion in this tier list. A tier, looking pretty solid. I like Vatu, Buck, Vora, Androxus. You could make the case for moving Androxus to B tier, especially to make him like the true benchmark, and also because the tier list would be a perfect pyramid. I actually really like that idea now. I really like that idea. Let's make it a pyramid. You know what? That's a good idea. So yeah, now do I like the rankings in each class? Obviously Evie S tier, obviously Skye D tier, Moji, I mean, the only reason she's not in D tier is because of her tech. I like her tech, so I'm going to leave her here. Talus definitely more fun than Moji. Is he more fun than Lex? I wouldn't say so. Again, I like being able to like jiggle peek and poke people. Lex has more range, and he also just has that ability to jiggle peek with Death Hastens, and it's the one build I enjoy with him, and I enjoyed enough to keep him above Talus. Koga, yeah, definitely bottom of B tier. Like, he's still not someone I pick up too often, but he's definitely starting to encroach on, like, you know, fun territory. Zhin, same thing, but he's stronger and more reliable than Koga, so he goes above Koga. And then Maeve is finally where we're starting to get into fun characters, like upper B tier. And is she more fun than Androxus? I wouldn't say so, but I'm going to keep Androxus above her. I like my A tier, so I think I'm overall pretty satisfied with this tier list. So yeah, that's going to be the end of this tier list. What do you guys think of my tier list? Obviously, I want to reiterate again, this is opinions only. This is my opinion on who I think is really fun. So your opinion is probably very different from mine, and that is a good thing. Like, you enjoy whoever you want to enjoy. If you're a Skye main, good on you. Like, awesome. Keep it up. You're killing it. But for me, this is who I think is fun. This is who I think isn't fun, and I would love to hear your opinion. So yeah, keep it respectful in the comments though. Don't be like, oh, Andrew, you hate Skye? You're a loser, dude. Screw you. You're ugly and I hate you. Don't do that. Don't do that. But yeah, who do you think is fun? Who do you think is not fun? Let me know in the comment section. Also make sure to join the Discord server where you could talk about this further, or you could play with some other people, find some new friends, meet some new people. It's a great place to be. And also check out the Twitch channel, link in the description. I stream there regularly. In fact, I'm probably streaming right now. Like, if you go over there, there's a good chance you might find me. I mean, this video is releasing on Wednesday. I stream on Wednesday. Like, that's just, you know, go to my Twitch. Go check it out, you know? Ask me about my tier list. It's a great idea, and you should definitely go do it. Anyways, I will see you all next time. Peace out.